In the small town of Chesnee, South Carolina, a farming community with a population of less than 900, 4 people have been shot dead in broad daylight at the bike shop where they worked. Over a year after the murders, suspicion fell on the owner's wife when a DNA test revealed her baby belonged to another one of the victims. But it was all a mix-up at the crime lab.
Melissa, how long in total would you say you were under suspicion as someone who might have had something to do with this crime?
Too long? I want to say maybe 18 months, possibly.
Time she believes may have allowed the real killer to slip away. Now, 12 years on, everyone has a theory as to who did it and why, including a possible link to another mass homicide that occurred that same year, just 30 miles away. Greer, South Carolina, May 16th, 5 months before the Superbike murders. It's a little after noon, and at the Blue Ridge Savings Bank right off I-85, the sole teller on duty, Sylvia Holtzclaw, is taking a quick break to chat with her son on what is supposed to be her day off.
I just remember she was not real happy that she wasn't able to have the afternoon off. So I went by and took her lunch to her, spent 5 or 10 minutes with her, and then I left. You know, never thinking that that would be the last time I would see her.
Shortly after that, sometime around 1:30 p.m, local couple Ebb and Maggie Barnes entered the bank. And life in Greer, South Carolina, changed forever.
On May 16th at 1:30 in the afternoon, a call came into the Greer Police Department. It was an alarm call from the Blue Ridge Savings Bank. I was one of probably the second or third or maybe fourth to get there. The whole scene was shocking, period.
Huddled in a back room, police find Sylvia, Ebb and Maggie shot to death. Like in the Superbike murders, the shootings happened in the middle of the day and there seemed to be no witnesses. In the hours after the bank murders, investigators review surveillance cameras from a nearby convenience store and get their first lead.
There was a red car that was seen driving to the bank on the frontage road at about 1:24 p.m. The Barnes family was seen driving 3 minutes later to the bank.
Based on those details, police believe the person in the red car entered the bank to rob its lone teller, Sylvia. But then Ebb and Maggie Barnes interrupted.
We think the perpetrator lost control of the incident, panicked most likely, and determined that he was going to shoot and kill 3 victims. The red vehicle was seen driving away from the bank 3 minutes later after the incident occurred.
Suspiciously enough, a similar red car was witnessed at the scene of the Superbike murders. Soon, Greer police discover that the red car was stolen from a rental lot just days before the bank murders. Not only that, but they know who did it, 39-year-old career criminal Emerson Wright. Unfortunately, he's a person of interest they'll never get the chance to question.
2 years after the incident, he was in another car chase with the Georgia State Police. He was wanted for a series of burglaries in the Atlanta area. As a result of that vehicle chase, he crashed his car, got out on the side of the road, and killed himself by a single gunshot wound to his head in front of the state trooper.
So, was he the perpetrator of the Blue Ridge Bank murders? And could he have also gunned down 4 people at Superbike Motorsports just 5 months later? At this time, police can't say for sure in either case. But as similarly brutal as both murder scenes were, they don't believe the 2 crimes are connected.
We feel that the quadruple homicide in Chesnee, South Carolina was more of a personal or intentional act. We believe that the triple homicide at the Blue Ridge Savings Bank in Greer, South Carolina was a robbery that went wrong and turned into 3 homicide victims dead.
So the question remains, who did murder 4 people in cold blood that November day in Chesnee?
I believe it was a hard hit. Just 2 weeks prior to this happening, Suzuki had a convention in Las Vegas. Scott was giving all these awards. Well, my thought process is these people are watching this young kid get these awards and realize this is the kid that's taking my business because he's coming into my hometown selling bikes off the internet. Maybe they got together and said, look, we got to do something about it.
Law enforcement continues to say that they believe it could be a disgruntled customer who carried out these attacks. The family, they think it could be drug-related, any number of things.
Whatever the motive, this horrific case still remains unsolved, and police need the public's help bringing the killer to justice. In the 12 years since the murders, the victims' loved ones have tried to rebuild their lives. Beverly's husband, Terry, has once again found love and is remarried to, of all people, Brian Lucas's sister. As for the baby Scott Ponder never got to meet, he's now a happy, healthy 12-year-old boy.
Come on, Mom. Okay, ready?
How's Scotty? That must be difficult, trying to comprehend the enormity of what's happened.
I don't think he truly understood just how big this is, probably until a couple of years ago. There was never a sit-down moment where I said, hey, Scotty, guess what? It's always, you know, your dad's never been here. I made a pretty large scrapbook for him of his dad and I and his grandmother, who is no longer around as well.
That's a pretty awkward teenage picture, right?
Yeah. I didn't know he had hair that long.
Scotty, what has your mum been able to tell you about the sort of man that your dad was? What do you know about him?
I know he was happy a lot, he was funny, and he was very energetic.
Do you ever talk to him?
Sometimes when I'm alone, I just say, how is it where you are?
And do you find that helps, to be able to talk to him in that way? Melissa, what do you say to the guy who was able to walk into that store 12 years ago, kill 4 people, and then find a way to live with it on his conscience for the last 12 years?
You haven't destroyed us. We're overcoming it. We're gonna be okay, but there's a kid that's gonna live his entire life without knowing his dad.
Now, having spent many hours with little Scotty and also Melissa, they told me that there is one thing that they want more than anything else in life, and that is to find out who it was that pulled the trigger. This family has surely waited long enough for answers, and now they really do need your help. Someone must have information on who committed this horrible crime. Please submit a tip to us anonymously if need be at crimewatchdaily.com, or you could call or text our toll-free tip line, that number 1844 800 CRIME.